I'm one of the Deputy Coordinator Generals here, and we've just briefed our Minister, Minister McBain, on the current situation. I'm here with my colleague Jill Charker. Just before we go on, I'd just like to touch on what the high level of what the weather situation is. So we're continuing with heavy rainfall, and that's continuing on the mid-north New South Wales coast today. It is remaining persistent, and severe weather warnings are current. The activity will ease on Friday, which is promising, but I just want to reinforce that it remains persistent at the moment. There is areas that have had localised very heavy rain, and that will spread south along the central coast and southern New South Wales coast and further inland today. There's a cold front also that will spread across New South Wales early next week, bringing some damaging winds, so emergency services are closely watching that, and obviously the Bureau are monitoring that. So just before I hand over to the Minister, we've just briefed the Minister on the current situation, but first of all, obviously our thoughts go out to the communities that are currently being affected. And in particular, unfortunately, there has been a fatality, so our condolences go out to the family of that individual, but there are also concerns for another 3 people that the authorities are actually looking for at the moment. New South Wales has significant capabilities responding to this event, and we are working very, very closely with New South Wales. They've got high clearance vehicles, flood boats and a number of helicopters that have been deployed, and I just want to give everybody confidence that the federal government, state government and other governments around the country, so we're all working collaboratively and we are coordinating to make sure that we support the communities in New South Wales and the New South Wales state government. We've been working very closely with the ADF and that at this stage ADF have deployed a helicopter, and last night that helicopter undertook 8 rescues, and there were several rescues that were occurring last night. We're also, the room that we're in here, the National Situation Room, is operating on a 24/7 footing, and we have a crisis coordination team in place, and we are deploying a planning team to support New South Wales at the request of New South Wales. We're also going to prepare for a national coordination mechanism this afternoon. And I think the key thing, I'd like to leave everyone with 3 key messages. First of all, the event is not over. Second, if it's flooded, forget it. Thirdly, listen and act to emergency broadcasting and emergency warnings. And thirdly, look after your neighbours and your mates, especially those that need support. So, Minister, I'll hand over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Obviously, what we've seen over the last couple of days is some intense activity focused mainly on the mid-north coast and across the Hunter. We have activated, in line with the New South Wales Government, the disaster recovery funding arrangements, which goes to 16 local government areas across that area. But today I have just enacted the disaster recovery allowance, which will focus initially on 4 local government areas, Kempsey, Port Macquarie, Dungog and the Mid-Coast Council area, and that is to assist those people that have been directly impacted with up to 13 weeks allowance in lieu of them being able to undertake their usual course of employment. This still is a dynamic and changing situation, and as we've heard from Joe and from Premier Minns and Minister Dibb earlier today, unfortunately there has been a fatality. And it is really important, as Joe just mentioned, to heed those emergency warnings. It is important to act quickly and act decisively when we've got an event of this nature unfolding. There are a number of evacuation centres that are set up across the landscape, so please, if you are having trouble, reach out. There are a range of emergency broadcast options through local radio, on TV or the Hazards Near Us app, and you can find your nearest emergency evacuation centre if you need to go there. It is important that we are looking out for friends, family, particularly those that may need assistance, the elderly or vulnerable. it is really important that we are heeding that advice. And I want to thank the Premier and Minister Dibb for their information and advice to the Commonwealth Government over the last few days. We've got over 2,000 emergency service personnel on the ground at the moment. There has been an activation, as Joe said, of ADF search and rescue, which is really important, but there are a range of other rescues that are taking place. We ask people to call emergency services if they do need help. In the last 24 hours alone, we've had over 1,900 calls for assistance, and the SES is managing this on the ground at this point in time. We remain open to helping New South Wales if there are any further requests, and as Joe said, that national coordination mechanism will take place later this afternoon. It is really important that we've got the state and Commonwealth governments working together, and to that end, local councils are going to play a significant role in this clean-up, and we're working really closely with them as well. I've been in contact with a number of local mayors in the impacted area, as well as federal MPs who are present there as well. Happy to take any questions.
How long will it take for people to access disaster relief on ground?
Look, we are working on that now. That will be run through New South Wales, and they will shortly have Service New South Wales and Reconstruction Authority on the ground to directly assist residents.
There are already reports of shortages of key essentials like food up north. What will be done to ensure that supply chains hold up?
That's part of the national coordination mechanism as well. For example, some of the big supermarkets have already reached out about how they'll get supplies into evacuation centres and into a range of stores that are still open, but we will coordinate some of that going forward as well.
And you've already spoken about deploying an ADF helicopter. We're just wondering how many ADF personnel are currently on the ground to help out?
There's over 2,000 emergency service personnel on the ground at this point in time. They are New South Wales personnel. The request from New South Wales directly to the ADF and to the federal government was around search and rescue capability, particularly over night time, and that has been deployed already.
Are you able to say where that ADF helicopter came from, which base?
Look, it's come from Nowra and based itself in and around Taree, which is where most of the rescues are currently taking place.
And also wanted to ask, have you received word on whether the PM or any other federal MPs will be going to visit these flood-affected areas?
Look, at this stage, we've got a disaster unfolding. We've got a range of river systems that are yet to peak, and rain that is still heavily focused over a particular area. Our focus right now is on that immediate response phase and assisting people that need evacuation. We don't want to take any resources away from where they're required. I've spoken to the Prime Minister last night and again this morning about that. I know the Premier and he have had conversations as well, and as I've been talking to my New South Wales counterpart, I'll head up to that area very shortly, but at this stage we won't be going anywhere near those rescue zones, because it's very important that those emergency personnel are doing the job that's in front of them, and that is helping our communities out.
The SES had made contact with that 63-year-old man, but it seems that they weren't able to reach him. Are you concerned that some of the SES crews are being overwhelmed with support, and what will the federal government do to sort of help increase the accuracy and the response times?
So New South Wales is coordinating this event. As I said, there's over 2,000 emergency service personnel on the ground at this point in time. There's a range of helicopter assets doing air rescues. There is a range of water rescues currently taking place as well. They are responding to the calls as soon as they possibly can. In an event of this size and this nature, and being a dynamic situation, it is changing frequently. They are making sure that they can get to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. We'll continue to work with New South Wales for any requests that they might have.
And it seems that these 1 in 100 or 1 in 500 year flooding events are happening more and more frequently. I guess what ways is the government trying to address and mitigate the impact of these events and their frequency?
Look, I don't think that there is a question out there that climate change is having a significant impact on weather events right across the world. In Australia here, we're not immune to that. We're seeing more devastating events like this happen more frequently. We came to government in 2022 saying that we have to work more on disaster mitigation and resilience, which is why we put in place the Disaster Recovery Fund, the Disaster Ready Fund. And it's really really important that we are working with local communities on infrastructure and asset protection. There have been a range of projects currently underway. Round 3 is closed and is due to be allocated soon. We've heard directly from state governments, from local councils and from insurance companies that there has to be money put in to mitigation, resilience and response efforts, and that Disaster Ready Fund is absolutely doing that job now. We know that we've got that Colvin review, which is the way in which the 3 levels of government need to react to these incidences together, and we'll respond to that over the course of this term. But I think it's really important right now, when we're in a disaster, to focus on what's at hand. And right now what's at hand is the safety of people across the mid-coast as well as the Hunter, and making sure that we are assisting people where they are right now.
I mean, some of these communities have been hit several times over the last few years. What message do you have for them if they're increasingly despondent, I guess, about what they're being hit with year after year?
Yeah, and for some of these communities, it's not year after year, it's month after month. We've had a range of these communities that were impacted by heavy rain and flooding during the Cyclone Alfred impact that we saw across parts of New South Wales and Queensland. I've spoken to the Mayor of Dungog Shire earlier today, and he said, this is a couple of months of such intense rain that there's literally no way that they can get onto paddocks at this point in time. So, these communities are resilient and they're innovative out of necessity a lot of the time, but we will be there to support them now and into the future. That's the job of the Commonwealth, state and local councils at this stage, to make sure our communities feel safe, they feel heard and they feel responded to.
And you also mentioned insurance. Obviously insurance premiums going up has been a huge sore point for a lot of people who live in these flood affected areas, and it will be again once all of this heads into the recovery stage. What has the government done, or is the government going to do anything to prevent insurances from hiking up their premiums?
In the last term of government, Assistant Treasurer Stephen Jones actually held a number of roundtables with insurance companies over this particular issue. This is unfinished business, and we're going to have some conversations with insurance companies going forward. But at this point in time, with the disaster still unfolding, our focus remains on the local communities that we need to help out right now.
Do you anticipate some of these emergency resources will have to be deployed further south, maybe into Greater Western Sydney over the next few days?
Look, we'll see how the weather develops over the next couple of days. There are a number of minor flooding alerts for a range of other local council areas further south of where we're currently seeing, but we will continue to provide advice into local communities, as will a range of broadcasting channels and that Hazards Near Me app. I urge everyone to listen to those emergency warnings though, and act early, act quickly, get to higher ground or into an evacuation centre, and as Joe said, if it's flooded, forget it. We don't want to see people driving into or going to check out this weather system or these flooding areas. We want you to be safe and stay dry. So that means stay indoors, don't go out on the roads if it's unnecessary, and please heed the advice of our emergency services personnel. Thank you.